Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You're probably looking at me like I'm a cuckoo bird with my hair like this, but today, as you guys can see from the title, it is my second edition of my, what is it that I called this? Therapy session tutorial. I think that's what I called it. And I asked you guys on Snappy Chappy what palette you guys wanted me to use for the next one, and unanimously this palette has won. So I am here to give you my good and bad and the ugly from this palette. So this is not going to be a short video. I'm going to try to keep it to 30 minutes because my last one was at 40, sparing you guys 10 minutes to see if I can do it. So I already did my brows just to get it out of the way. I used the Avon Dark Brown liner here. And then I topped it off with this Rimmel Medium Brown gel thingamabobber. And then I did prime my eyelids. I used my Color Tattoo in Just Beige, which you guys see all the time in my videos. So we're going to start off with this palette. So if you don't know what it looks like, here it is. I have been non-stop using this for almost the full month of August just to really get my thoughts wrapped really well for you guys, because it's good and bad. I'll just tell you that right now. So first I'm going to grab the color Dawn right here, and I'm going to use a flat shader brush just to pack it on. These eyeshadows are super pigmented. They're pressed pigment. So they're very pigmented. So literally that much, look, you get a lot, and there's a lot of fallout. So I would highly recommend to tap off your brush, because if you don't, you're going to get a lot. Now, I'm not even going to, I just tapped it in there, and I'm not going to bang it off so you guys can see how concentrated this is. Like, it's super concentrated. I wouldn't recommend doing what I just did with the darker shades, because you are going to regret it. So I don't know what look I'm going to come up with today, but let's just work it. Alright, so I'm going to grab the color Roxy here. Now these shadows are a lot more concentrated than their first one. This palette reminds me of the Urban Decay Electric palette. Those are pressed pigments, just that the Urban Decay ones are more pressed harder in there, but they're just like those, where they can stain your eyelids, they can stain your skin. They're very pigmented, where you do not need a lot of product. The only downside with these is they're mattes, so mattes tend to be a little bit harder to blend if you don't get it right, and these I find are harder to blend. But if you know how to use this eyeshadow palette, then you should be fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab a fluffy brush, and I'm literally barely going to go in here. Like, that's how much I'm going to grab on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and see how concentrated that is. You can tap it off, but because I didn't go in so much, I didn't. So as I'm blending this in, I'm going to give you my thoughts. This palette, I do like it. I love the colors of it. I love the fact that it is very pigmented, so I feel like a little bit does go a long way. This palette I would absolutely not recommend to everyone. I don't feel like everyone will like it, and I don't feel like everyone will know how to use it. And I'm not trying to say that I am the expert of all eyeshadows. No. I'm just saying that this has a serious learning curve, and if you do not have the patience or the time to use this palette, don't waste your money, don't waste your time, because this palette is not a palette where I personally can go ahead and use it when I'm in a rush, or I just want something quick, or I don't have the time. No, this palette has to be used when I have the time to sit down, to blend everything out, to really position things where I want them to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab this color All Star right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. This color right here, All Star. And I'm going to use a more precise brush, because my recommendation for this palette, if you are planning on using it, I just used one dot. Grab a brush first, place it where you want it to go. Then go back and blend it out with a different brush. If you use the same brush, you're going to have a hard time blending these out. That's what I have found with these. I'm sorry, I tell you guys every Thursday they're doing the landscaping where I live, and today's Thursday, but I have no other day to film this, so I'm sorry. You're gonna hear the lawnmower people, but so this, see how much, and I blended, I really like kicked that off. So you have to be very, very precise and very careful with this palette. This palette is not for beginners. This palette is not for those that aren't comfortable blending your shadows out. This is not going to make it easy for you. This is not going to blend on its own like the Viseart eyeshadows. Those are amazing. Like, you could really screw things up, but those palettes make you look like you really know what you're doing. So I'm just blending this out as the lawnmower dude is next to my house. Now, I have found that if you do put too much on your eyes at once and don't really blend it out well, you will get that patchiness on here because they're so pigmented. If you ever own a blush that is very pigmented and you go in with a heavy hand and then try to blend it out, you're going to get patchy spots everywhere. That's how these eyeshadows are. As you guys can tell on my eyes, I don't really have too much patchiness going on because I started out little and gradually built it up. Now, that's the rule you should use for most of your eyeshadows. If you're not comfortable with the blending process, or you're not used to the blending process, or you're new to the blending process. So that's my advice with this palette. There are 3 shadows in this palette: Adorn, Electric, and Cube. These are more like a hard pressed glitter in a sense. They remind me very much of the Queen of Hearts palette by Colored Rain, those shimmery shades where it's best to use your finger. Same thing with the Violet Voss shadows, the Ride or Die palette, that same thing. And I have this one, so happen to be up here. This is the Tarte Make Believe. These eyeshadows here, where you would have to use your finger for best results, that's how I would use these eyeshadows as well. You can use them wet to make it help work for you, or a glitter glue, that also works as well. I have used all 3 of these as toppers on top of other shadows, and it looked beautiful. So how would I recommend this is you can really go ham and really dig in there and then put it on there for a full packed eyeshadow look, and that you won't see through to your skin. Or you can put down one of these matte shadows and then place one of these on top very lightly, because it is very, very pigmented. You don't need a lot, because if you put too much of these 3 shades on top of another shadow, you're going to lose the bottom shade that you originally put on there. So for today, I want to use Cube. The only problem I have with Cube, I feel like it gets hard pan really easily. So I'm going to try, this is more of a duochrome kind. As you guys can see, it kind of shifts like a pinky purple. It looks white in here, but it is like a duochrome kind. So I'm going to place this on my lids. I'm doing a simple look today. If you have seen my videos throughout the month of August, you have seen on the bottom description bar that I have used this palette basically all month, especially on camera. So if you want to see a variety of different looks that I have come up with, you can just look back at my videos. This past Monday and Wednesday, I did use Untamed as a base, and I went ahead with Adorn and I placed it on top. That's the look that I have on my last 2 videos this week. I really like that look. It is beautiful. I don't understand, I should have said this from the beginning. I haven't watched anybody's review on this palette except for Emily Noel. I still have not watched anybody's review. I still have not watched the problems or the issues that everyone is having with this palette. But if you are smart, and I shouldn't say smart, if you are well versed with a lot of eyeshadow formulas, I don't see what the problem is with this eyeshadow palette. I just feel like this eyeshadow palette itself is not for everyone. It's not, at least maybe for mine. I didn't order mine off of the Anastasia website. I ordered mine off of Ulta, so it was already out for like maybe 2 weeks when I got it. So I don't know if I got a good batch. I don't know if it's a batch thing. I don't know if it's a it's a formulation thing. I couldn't tell you what the problem is. I really don't want to watch anybody's negative reviews. I just feel like one or two people really didn't like it and everyone jumped on the bandwagon and started bashing this palette, and I don't understand why, because I really don't have an issue with it. I kind of work with it. I've learned to bend and kind of like what's the word? Kind of like molded myself to work with this palette, so I haven't had any issues. I'm never hard with my eyeshadows, so I don't feel like I'm having a problem with it. But again, I haven't watched anybody's videos. I'm sure there are some eyeshadow palettes that have had issues, because there are some that in batches that are just not well made. But I don't understand what the big issue is. I really don't. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, or maybe it's just the palette that I did get, but I like it. I've been able to work with it. I've been able to come up with a lot of looks, but I'm not going to rush out and say that this is a great palette for everyone, because it's not. It's not good for everyone, and if you're not good at eyeshadows, skip out on this one. I'm going to go in with Fudge. Same concept. I'm going to go in with a brush to pack it on, and then blend it out. If you ever, by the way, a little tip, if you ever have an issue with any of these type of eyeshadow or any eyeshadow that is very hard to blend out and you get a bunch of like patchiness on here, grab your translucent powder or any type of powder that you set your face with, dip an eyeshadow brush on it, and then blend it out, and that does help with the eyeshadows. If the actual palette has an eyeshadow like Dawn for you that's close to your skin color, just go ahead and use that to blend out the edges of the eyeshadow. I didn't have to do that today, but that's something that I have been using with this eyeshadow palette as well. You will get a bunch of powder kick up on these, and I have noticed that some of the powder kick up will bounce onto eyeshadows next to it, but as long as you blow it away, it shouldn't interfere with the color of any of the other ones. So I have used this palette over and over. That's my thoughts on it. I like it. I'm going to keep it because I am hearing rumors that they're going to reformulate this palette. I'm curious to see what they're going to do to it, if they're going to press the shadows harder so that way it's manageable and better to dip your brush in and not get so much powder kick up or so much pigmentation, because the pigmentation is ridiculous with this palette. It is so strong on this palette. But the problem is, I'm curious that when they're going to press it hard, they're going to lose some of the pigmentation to the shadows, and then some of them may not even be as pigmented as they are currently. So, you know, there's always something to complain about. I'm going to put these back. I just feel like there's so many releases that are being released lately that I feel like people are purposely finding something to nitpick at in everything, in anything and everything that comes out. It's not about the makeup anymore. It's about, ooh, let me get the most views, and oh, is this the worst palette of life, or the highlighter that never ends, or it's constantly something. And thank God I'm not falling for it, because I just want to genuinely play with makeup and tell you guys what I feel and what I think about the product. And I never ever push things down on your throat. I'm going to use this Urban Decay Super Curl mascara for my lashes before I put on my falsies, because this is how I'm leaving it. This is it. Simple, easy, to the point. You don't need to go crazy with this eyeshadow palette. You can do a simple everyday look with this palette and it's wearable. So anyway, I feel like it's not about the review anymore. It's about what twist can you do to get the review to get more views, basically, because that's how I'm seeing it. It's constantly gimmicky. Everyone is telling me how very few people have said that they like this palette, and well, from what I've seen at thumbnails, because I haven't seen any of the videos like I mentioned, so I don't know what the problem is. Some of you guys have told me what the issue is on Snapchat, and I just, again, if you don't have the time or the patience or are comfortable with blending out your shadows or just don't like pigmented products, so pigmented because you're heavy-handed, don't buy this palette. That's what I can say. That's what I can recommend. If you are willing to take the challenge and have the time to be able to make this palette work, it's a beautiful palette. The colors are beautiful. It's more like a grungy type of palette, so it's beautiful to use. I really like it. I'm a fan of pigments in general, so maybe that's why, because I already know how to work with loose pigments, and loose pigments can be super pigmented and can look patchy, especially the matte ones, if you do not know how to work them, because they're very, very pigmented and a little bit hard to control. But because I have always loved pigments, that's the very first thing I ever used on my eyes was eyeshadow pigments. I didn't have eyeshadow palettes, I had pigments, and that's all that I ever used. So I'm very comfortable with that type of formula, so maybe that's why this isn't so bad to me. I'm going to go ahead and use my Ardell Wispies, so I shall return with my eyelashes on. Alright, now onto the face. Now before I get there, I do want to show you guys that this is the one that I keep talking about, that I don't know if you guys can tell, but it did get hard pan from me putting my finger in it. These two right here, Adorn and Electric, do not get hard pan, but this one for whatever reason does. So what I just did is I grabbed this fluffy brush right here and just swirled it in there and then placed it on my lid, and it took the hard pan away. That's the only one that's super hardly packed that I have an issue with it as far as getting hard pan, but all the other ones, they're very pigmented. So for primer, I'm still using this Rimmel Stay Matte. I think I have like one more use out of this thing. This thing is literally on its last limb, and I'm squeezing the crap out of it. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, last bit. And that's all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. You saw it on camera. I used it up. So let's see. So now that I've told you my piece on the Anastasia palette, the other thing that I don't understand is why are people writing on their thumbnail honest review? Honest review, like I would never write that on my channel or any of my videos because I'm always being honest with you. So why is this one any different from any other video? I'm going to tell you my honest opinion regardless, so why do I have to announce that this is an honest review? This is not something like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading into things so much. But I'm going to keep the Anastasia palette. I'm going to continue to use it because I really like the colors, and I can use it on days that I have the time or get creative with it because I feel like I can get a lot of looks with it. For foundation, I'm going to use my L'Oreal Infallible. I think that if they do reformulate it, I'm going to purchase the new one and then compare it to the old one. How does that sound for you guys? So that way you guys can see if there really is a difference. And not to mention that I didn't pay full price for this one. I ended up paying $1.40 something for this palette anyway, so it's not like I'm losing out money on it. I used my Ulta points for it, and I do like it. So, and I know I have friends who hate it. They don't like it, they returned it. So I know it's not for everyone. I know that I wouldn't say I recommend it to everyone, so I get it. And I'm sure some of you guys that are watching are like, Alex, you're crazy for liking it, because I didn't like it or I couldn't stand it. But I really do think it's like a user thing. If you are not comfortable, I wouldn't get it. Don't waste your money on something you know you ain't gonna like. And I just got foundation all over my brows. So anyway, now that we're done and I finished half of the video basically explaining to you guys about that palette, let's move on to something else, shall we? So what has been going on? I went on vacation, as you guys know. I've been trying to keep up with my channel. Where I just washed my brushes, so I don't have many brushes out here. So I'm using this Maybelline Age Rewind, the corrector. So we went on vacation, back to school. My daughter has one more week basically left of her summer vacation before she goes back to school. I'm happy and sad because she does help me with the younger two. But my children, they are known as some sort of force of nature, basically. I always joke and I say I'm Mother Nature, and my oldest is an earthquake, my middle child is the tornado, and the youngest is a hurricane. And my oldest kind of like rowdies up her younger two siblings. She's the one that like gets them all rowdied up and excited about stuff and, you know, hypered up and things. So I'm happy she's going back because I can control my son better. That sounds bad, but I can control him better when she's not around because she's not egging him on or doing stuff to get him to do things. So I'm happy about that. And then my youngest, of course, she's getting a lot better. I swear she's going to get her teeth any day now. She is at that point where we took her to the doctors and the doctor said that they're there. We're just doing the waiting game. So, and her siblings at the same age got their teeth. So I'm expecting her tooth, at least one or two of them, to come in because she has been having really bad bowel movements, very cranky, biting everything, rubbing her gums on like my shoulders and things. That's why I can't do like shoulder highlighting because of her. So we are just waiting patiently for the day that they come out and I hear a scream or I see blood on her bed, whatever it is. So that's what I've been up to. We have we had a barbecue this past weekend, and of course I forgot my phone, so I could not share it with you guys, but we had a barbecue. Mr. Man has family who came in from Arizona, and he hasn't seen them in a while, so we went over there, and it so happened that this individual has 6 other siblings, or 7 siblings in total. So we were able to like get all of them together, which is very rare because they're always so busy. So all of them got together, they took pictures together, the grandkids took pictures, and the great-grandkids took pictures with the mom. The mom's the only one living. The dad passed away about 14 years ago. So that was very nice. We enjoyed ourselves. The kids love to go over there. They enjoy themselves a lot. So we went over there, had food. They always have food like crazy. And then we have another barbecue this weekend. I think this is our last barbecue. This year, because we did have another one the following weekend. Then the weekend after Labor Day. But we won't be able to attend because this lady right here, I've been holding this off and not telling you guys on Snappy Chappy, anywhere else on social media because I'm very, very excited about it, but I wanted to share this with you guys here. Little Miss is going to be dancing during the Miss America Parade. Like, she will be in the Miss America Parade, and a parent can be part of the parade itself, so like literally walking with the contestant. So yeah, I will be in the Miss America Parade. She's part of a dance studio that is going to be involved, and obviously we're in New Jersey, so we'll be with Miss New Jersey, which is so exciting because as a kid I always would go. One of my uncles would pick me and my 2 sisters up and his daughter, which is my cousin. I'm going to try this today because I've been wanting to try this. This is the Lorac Tantalizer. It's a duo. It's a highlighter and blush, or highlighter and bronzer. So we're going to use the bronzer side to bronze. Anyway, he used to pick us up, and we used to spend the weekend when Miss America Parade would happen in Atlantic City, and we would spend the night with him and go watch it. So it was like a tradition for us as kids to go watch it. And now to be a part of it, it's like so awesome. Like, my daughter obviously doesn't get the excitement that I have, because as a kid it was tradition for us. We would order pizza, watch TV all night, and then wake up the next day and like just enjoy the day out there, and go and watch the parade in the afternoon. Go sit on the boardwalk and watch parade. Now it's like you can't go and watch the parade. Now you got to buy a ticket to sit down. When I was a kid, you used to just bring your own seats and sit on the boardwalk, or just stand by the boardwalk and just watch the girls. And you always used to ask them to show them your shoes, because they would elaborate their shoes and decorate their shoes according to their state and what their state represented. So we would love to watch them, you know, show us their shoes and things. And now I feel like it's become all about money. So now you gotta pay to watch it. At the actual boardwalk, you gotta pay to park. You have to pay to be involved. It's like nothing is ever free. But I'm excited because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that she will get as well as myself. So I was like, yeah, sorry, we're not gonna go to that barbecue because we are going to this, and it's like right at the same time, and we already had RSVP'd for this for months. Like, you guys, I've been holding this for months from you guys, but I'm super excited. She at first didn't want to do it. My daughter didn't want to do it, but then when I explained to her the opportunity and things, now she's super excited. So we're all happy that we're gonna do it. And Mr. Man has the 2 younger ones, so I'm going to use this today. I haven't used this in a while. This is the Love Flush palette with all of the blushes. I never got any of the individual ones because I bought this. So I'm going to use this. And I think I'm going to use How Deep Is Your Love? This one right here. So what was I saying? So we're preparing for it. She's learning her dance. I am dropping her off at dance class again. We already signed her up for dance class this year. We added another class, so yeah, my plate's gonna be full this year between school, soccer, dance. Then little man is gonna start getting involved in things, I'm sure, so I'm gonna be pretty busy, but that's okay, because I'd rather be busy than bored and not feel like I'm being productive being at home, being a stay-at-home mom. I'd rather be productive than just, not that I'm not being productive at home because I'm literally running around like crazy, but you know what I mean. I feel like I'm contributing something, even though it's not financially. Ugh. I don't know how I get hair in my mouth. So what else do I gotta tell you guys? The barbecue this weekend will be interesting. We'll see how that one goes. Maybe I'll save that one for another therapy session or for Snapchat. We'll just see how that one goes too. I'm using this highlighter, by the way. I've been sucking at telling you what I'm using. I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, I wanted to use a different highlighter. Oh well. Let's see. Let's add it on here. I wanted to use this one. We're going to just pack it on. This is the Wet n Wild, the Golden Flower Crown one. This one's definitely going to stand out a lot more. Yeah, this one's more natural, which is fine for every day, but this one, yeah, that's what I wanted. So I'm going to spray. I'm using this facial spray. I'm going through all my sprays. I don't know where I got this from, but I just use this just to kind of like make all of my powders mesh together. Not so much for longevity. You know what that means. And then my fan. You guys know me and my fan. You guys really should use this. I used this when I did my sister's makeup on her to blow out the glue on the eyeshadows. And she's like, look at you. She goes, I would have used my mouth and just spit all over the eyelashes. I'm like, no, you can't do that. And then when I am in a rush and I put on lashes and the glue's not drying on there, I literally close my eyes and just go like this, and the glue dries super quick. That's another little tip. I'm telling you guys, get one of these suckers. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. So I'm going to do my lower lash line now that I am done, and I'm only going to grab a little bit of All Star and just put it on my lower lash line. But I mean like ever so lightly, because you guys know how these are pigmented. If I haven't said anything this whole entire thing, video, it's that they're pigmented. So what else I gotta tell you guys? Let's see. I gotta go school shopping. I gotta get clothes for little miss. They're growing so fast. I took the kids, the 2 younger kids, to the doctors, and yes, I was confirmed that my children are a lot more active than normal children are. Kids are active, but mine, yep, the doctor confirmed it. She's like, yeah, your kids are just overly active, which is fine. She says they're on track. They're developing well. They're doing well. Little Miss is an Amazon baby. I'll just put it that way. She's an Amazon baby. I have a feeling she'll be taller than her sister, but my son will definitely be the tallest if their growth spurts doesn't like just go and end at a certain time. But if they continue with it, my kids are going to be tall. They're going to be super tall. Look how lightly that can be blended out, and it looks super nice. Like, you can work with this palette. I don't get it. I'm going to grab the same mascara and put it on my lower lash line because I like it. So I'm going to place this on there. I wanted to do, oh, I didn't even tell you guys. By the time you see this video, it already went live, but I am doing a makeup blog sale. Remember, I did a declutter, and a lot of you guys said I should sell my makeup. So I do have that on my blog. I'll link it down below in the description box. I don't know what's left at this point, if there's anything that even sold. I'm gonna be embarrassed if I sell nothing, to be honest with you. I did do my best as far as researching what's out there, what the cost of things are out there, so that way I'm not overpricing things or underpricing things. So I'm not trying to get thousands of dollars out of this. I've mentioned to you guys that if I was going to do this, it was to use and recycle on my channel. So that's my intentions for this, is just to since I do not work, this is my way of getting a little bit of income to kind of supplement any new reviews or things, because the holidays are coming up and I do have a few things that I am eyeing, which I'm probably going to do a separate video and share with you guys, because I also want your guys' input, what you guys want me to get, if you want me to get anything to review on my channel or use on my channel, because things are going to start getting released. And I didn't go overboard last year, and I'm happy because I didn't waste my time on returning or wasting my money on things. So I'm super happy about that. Let me get, this. So I want you guys to give me your opinions and options on what to get. I'm going to use this. I've been using this a lot this month. This is the Bite Beauty Cortado and Latte duo here. So I always mix these two. These are the 2 colors here. I've been mixing them. I've been trying to use this more often because I don't want it to go bad, since if you saw me on Snappy Chappy, I had to throw away more of these because they went bad. I'm telling you, Bite Beauty, they're great, but they go bad quickly. So anyway, if you want to see what I have a lot of things that are brand new, never swatched, never touched. The majority of the stuff that I have on there has been swatched only, never used on my eyes, or only used once on my eyes. So everything basically looks brand new. I either never got around to use these products, or I feel like I have similar things already, so I'd rather just give it to somebody who's going to use it. So that's why I'm selling the stuff that I am. It's blushes, eyeshadows, eyeshadow quads, eyeshadow palettes, do I have a highlighter maybe? I don't even remember what I have. And there's a lot more where that came from. So I just put enough on there to give you a variation. But I have more, so I'm probably going to do another blog sale. That's the part 2, if this one goes well. If this one doesn't do well at all, I'm not even going to tell you guys because I don't want to be embarrassed. Let's just say that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave down in the comment section if you guys are interested in any other palette that I own. If you guys want me to do use that in a tutorial or one of these type of videos. Thank you guys for requesting this one. Just take what I mentioned and go with it. I know this is probably like everywhere, but just review what I said. And again, this is not for everyone, so I completely understand, and there's probably going to be people that say they absolutely hate it, which is perfectly fine. It's not a big deal. So I will catch you guys in my next video, and don't forget that a smile is the best makeup a girl can wear. Bye guys.